Hello and welcome to Crack in the Vault.
Crack in the vault.
Crack in the vault. Crack in the vault. It's our after show where we talk more about Disney stuff. This week.
Oh, and it's uncensored.
That's right. This is our uncensored show for
only because we're going to release this to the general public.
It's exclusively for Patreon. Patreon.com/thewaltvault. Only $1.
Here first.
But we will be releasing this episode to the general public, so be warned, it's uncensored.
Because we have cut water, Long Island iced teas, and cookies.
And you know how crazy fucked up we be getting off them cookies, dude, you know?
Yep.
Cookie be sending me to the moon. This week, we are talking about the brand new 2021 Disney Plus original series, Loki.
Loki.
Yeah, they're definitely not saying Loki in that song, but it gets stuck in my head every time I think about this.
I know.
Mm-hmm. And it's all Michelle's fault.
So this, I mean, we've done
which one? The
WandaVision?
Reeboks and the Nikes?
The Reeboks and the Nikes.
The Reebok
and the Nike.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Nike.
Oh, yeah.
That shit was so funny. Anywho, so we've done WandaVision.
Uh-huh.
We've done Falcon and the Winter
Soldier.
Captain.
Yeah, oh, you almost had it.
And then now we have Loki. And we've done these all as cracks, and they've all come out to general public. So it's interesting because we all have, I would say, relatively strong opinions about how each one was.
Sure.
So weren't they supposed to... This is the order it was supposed to come out in. Loki, Falcon, and then WandaVision?
Wrong.
Ugh,
It
correct
was
me.
supposed to be, well, first of all, it was supposed to be,
WandaVision was not supposed to come out first.
it was supposed to be the movie Black Widow,
Oh.
then Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
Okay.
then WandaVision, then
Okay.
Loki.
That would have helped me better because if I'm going, my favorite was Loki, then it was WandaVision, then it was Falcon. So if they had come out in that other order, maybe I would have liked the Falcon one more.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have had such high expectations from WandaVision.
Right. Exactly. I think that's astute. So yeah, it's your favorite. I think Loki is my favorite of these three MCU
What about you,
shows
Luis?
as well.
How about we sit it together?
Oh.
Okay.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Least
Loki.
favorite.
Hell no.
Really? Ooh, this is
Oh,
gonna
we're
be
gonna
a
fight because I was
juicy
obsessed
one.
with this.
Oh yeah, he is juicy. Don't get it twisted.
Okay.
Did you just not like the ending, or you didn't
The
like
only
it?
saving grace of this is Loki.
So-
And Owen
Which
Wilson.
one, Sylvie?
Owen Wilson, no.
No.
Regular
No,
Loki and Owen
Tom
Wilson.
Hiddleston. So
the
yes.
rest of it, it was...
Wait.
Mm-mm.
Did you not like the show, or did you not like the ending?
I didn't like any
We didn't like the
of it.
show.
You didn't like the show. Okay. So
None.
Shut
let me just say
up.
None.
that we are going to be obviously fully
How
spoiling
could you
this
think
show.
that?
It ended
Pause.
It ended just this past Wednesday. So episode 6
So this is
just came out.
fresh in my heart that
Yes,
you're dissing on
Exactly. And it's Friday at the date of this recording.
It's Friday.
So if you haven't seen all of Loki, skedaddle, go
watch
watch it, and then come
Or
back.
apparently
and listen to
not, according to Emily and Luis.
I didn't say don't watch it. I just said it's not my favorite.
Okay.
I'll say
What
don't
was
watch
your
it.
favorite? WandaVision?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm trying not to compare them because they're so different.
They are very
Luis,
different.
which one was
WandaVision
your
even
favorite?
versus
Each
the other
show
one is not.
is
Which
crazy
one
different.
was your
from one
favorite,
another.
Louis?
Definitely Captain
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Captain
okay.
Falcon America.
Yeah.
Captain Falcon America.
Captain
Well, because you have to
Falcon
think
America.
about the way, like we said this in the Winter Soldier one. WandaVision was 100% sitcom,
Yeah.
and then Winter Soldier,
Which is usually not my jam.
right,
so.
and then Winter Soldier was cinematic. It felt
Like
like,
a
a long
long
It was
movie.
movie.
like it was
Mhm.
like
It was like
the
a TV
most
movie.
intricate, like action show you've ever watched, like Breaking Bad status, but even more.
Sure.
It was legit. I liked it
And
a
then
lot.
this one was more like dramatic, episodic.
It was like a dramatic kind of, almost like a police procedural in some ways.
Yeah.
Which I love.
So let me start first because I think I have the most like back and forth about it, at least between me and Louise.
Okay.
So
But
Let her go.
go.
Loki is my favorite villain in the Marvel universe.
Me
Like,
too.
just have to throw it out there. So
Okay.
I was mad that I didn't like it.
Gotcha.
So I'm not like, I didn't come into it being like, I don't want to see this.
Right.
I hella wanted to see it.
You were very
and
excited for it.
Yes, and I freaking wanted to love it. And I was like, fuck. Every episode, I was not happy.
Ditto
Really?
here. Ditto here.
I wasn't happy.
I was very much excited, like my wife. I'm not. I'm just jumping.
No,
in to
no,
say that
it's
with
true.
I was sold after the first episode.
Oh,
Sold.
Luis was gonna stop watching for
So,
sure.
what were you guys expecting the show to be?
Yeah, maybe.
I had no idea.
Okay.
I came in with zero expectations
Zero
other than I wanted to
expectations
like
here.
it. I didn't know what it was going to be about. And I don't like Owen Wilson. We know this. But I didn't.
Wow.
I love Owen Wilson,
I
and I
did-
still
Wow.
don't like this show.
Shakira.
Oh, God.
Wow. No. He actually didn't bother me very much.
No, who was great?
His
Mobius?
fucking broken nose did, but
Oh
not
my
him.
God.
Mobius
Leave his nose up
deserves
there.
Owen Wilson
a
is the
jet
best.
ski.
He's
man.
fantastic.
He does deserve his jet ski. Damn guy.
Have you seen
Anywho.
all the memes of him on jet skis?
Yes. Did you
Yeah.
see the Luca one I posted?
Yes.
It's so funny.
Fantastic.
Anywho, so I wanted to like it so hard, and I should like it because it's timey-wimey.
Yes.
It's Doctor Who-ish,
Yes.
very much so. Luis and I'm a little sad right now because Luis and I sat down and hashed out a conversation for like 45 minutes. So I feel like I've already said out loud
But
what
what's
I
your
want to say.
main reason why you didn't like it?
I don't like that there's different people playing Loki.
The same person.
I don't like that.
You don't like that there's that
Oh.
much variance between
Yes.
the variants.
I had to get past that quick because the next movie is called freaking Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
No,
so-
for sure. But what I didn't like, I think what I wanted was it to all be versions of Loki with different experiences. So they came out as different versions of
Right.
Loki. Because when I saw him take the Tesseract out of 2012 or whatever in the Battle of New York, I'm thinking, okay, so the Loki we knew is coming around. Like when he dies in Infinity War?
Right.
Because after Ragnarok, he's a little bit different, right? So that was the first version of me being like, okay, like we're going to have to see him turn into the Loki that we know and loved, or he's going to go worse, or he's going to do whatever.
Exactly.
So I was down for that. Okay, the variants. I think the storyline's a little funky, but whatever.
Sure.
I'll just suspend disbelief for that. But then in that first episode, every time they showed the different variants of him,
They were all Tom Hiddleston.
they were all Tom Hiddleston in different costumes.
correct.
And so I was like, okay, they're all going to be quote unquote Loki. I'm just going to call him Loki because imagine me saying Tom
Yeah.
Hiddleston. So I'm thinking, okay, they're all Tom and they're going to be different versions of Tom. Sounds good to me. And then it was Sylvie. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not upset that he's a girl because in my head, Doctor Who, like he was a girl at
Right.
one point.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
I'm
That
cool
kinda
with that.
reincarnation
But
thing.
like, then why weren't there more Sylvies? I guess like I would rather it be like a lot of dudes and some girls, whatever. But I don't like that there's like all these versions. And then Luis was like, yeah, but the crocodile was Loki from a crocodile world.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ugh, which is like Miles Morales-y, right?
So-
Yeah.
Where
this
there's like a
doesn't bother
pig.
me literally in one bit. Because if we're going multiverse, I would rather have them be completely different because I can wrap my head around that way more. When they're slightly different, like how it was in the freaking Flash world or like whatever, that throws me off so bad.
It's funny
Like,
because
if
I
they all look
equated
the
that
same-
exactly how you did it.
To the
I
Flash.
equated it to the Flash in
I
the
hated
TV
the
show.
Flash. Hated that.
Well, I did not like the TV show, but that is how I would have preferred it. So I think it's just a
That
preference
confuses.
thing.
Right.
I think it is because that confuses me way more. Like the fact that there was like a black Loki and a kid Loki and an alligator Loki, I was like, oh, this is fine. They're like completely different Lokis. Like that's a girl Loki. Like whatever.
But it's Loki.
I took.
Right.
It's
I
the
know.
same
I
person.
get.
But
I
in
get
my
it.
mind, it's not.
I
Well-
get it's the same person. It's a different version or whatever.
So the way that I
So-
justify it, okay? Okay, go ahead.
But it didn't bother me in that episode when he was showing him all the different Lokis because I think that's just how Loki was seeing it in his head. Like, oh, there's me there, and there's me doing that, and then there's me
Maybe.
doing that.
He did.
But in that
he
moment-
did explain it. There's different versions of you.
Right,
So-
and-
I mean, there was Tom Hiddleston as the president one.
Yes.
That one was my favorite because it was him. So in my mind, that made sense.
I was expecting there to be a lot more of that particular one.
Now, the reason why I didn't like it, it was the
Which steps?
powers beyond were just too simple for my liking. Like I was expecting some great being.
Like it was too
Sentient.
much power.
Oh,
like the
like
fact that
Kane
the
the Conqueror
All
wasn't
of
enough
this
for you?
was way
the
too
fact
much
that the
power for it
Infinity
being
Stones
just
were
some-
just
yeah.
like inert in this
It was
place.
too simple, and
I found
also
that
like the whole
fascinating.
TVA thing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that whole Fallout type of environment with like the technology.
Oh, where it
and
all
that.
kind of looked like it's from like the 60s or 70s
Yeah,
or
Oh,
whatever.
I
Fallout,
love
yeah.
that.
I like the
I
aesthetics
wasn't about
love
that.
of the
that.
TVA.
I was like,
lot of browns. A lot of browns.
Oh,
happening.
God, I would have
I
hated to
love
live in
that.
that.
And I didn't have an
Fuck
issue
that.
with the different Lokis because in my mind, here's how they become variants.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I actually like the way he explained it, but I don't think this is the truth.
So-
but it makes my brain happy.
it's not my favorite.
Okay.
It's my probably tied for last place with WandaVision.
Okay.
Okay. But for me, the way it's explained is in my eyes, it's simple. He who is left said
He who remains.
that in the 31 century,
The
31st
century,
Mhm.
okay,
31.
I, along with other versions of myself, came together and we've just started.
We figured out.
We
time.
figured out things.
Which I need an explanation of how they figured that out.
Sure.
So here's the deal.
but they're
okay.
in the 31st century. Who fucking knows?
If you really look at the timeline,
Oh, he's standing
they're in
up,
the
y'all.
21st century.
Yes.
So,
1,000 years.
New York happened 1,000 years before this guy was even in the picture.
Sure.
So, in my mind, and he said, I've been here for eons.
Mm-hmm.
So, time has ended already.
He is at the end.
He's
of
at
time.
the end of
He's
time.
at the end of time.
So,
yeah.
hold up. Here's how it goes. He's at the end of time, and then once he's at the end of time, it all starts over.
Sure.
Okay, so
Flat circle.
I hate saying it
I
like
don't think
this.
of it as a circle. It just
I
keeps
hate
going.
saying it like this, but to me, it is a circle because if you look, it's all revolving around that planet.
On his little rock.
He's
His
like
little-
a
his little
Saturn.
castle rock.
It was all going around.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not a planet.
No,
sure.
just ignore that. It's all a circle because it keeps repeating.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So think about it like a clock. Okay. He struck 12.
Mm-hmm.
That's when time, quote unquote, ended and started right after. Okay. So then the first Loki came about.
Okay.
Okay. But then the way I see it, as that time ended, maybe another Loki sprouted.
Okay.
He's
or
pretty much
maybe-
saying reincarnation.
Yes. And then
Oh, you're saying they can't exist at the same time?
yes, they can't exist at the same time. So essentially, as each eon went by, another Loki sprouted, but the other one could have still been out there somewhere. So that's why he was a variant, because there couldn't be two of the same
But
one.
then why did they all end up on the same timeline?
So I
How
like
did
the
they
way
end up
you're
on the same
explaining
time?
that,
Hold up. I'm not done. Let me finish. I never get
Let
to
me
talk.
talk.
but it's not true.
I never get to talk.
Okay, Brandon, go ahead.
Well, part of it's I choose not to. But anyways, so as one Loki is meant to be gone and makes a choice that puts him off of that and allows him to remain in the same timeline as the next Loki, he then becomes a variant. And that's when they snatch him out.
So I like that theory, but that's not what they explained in the last episode. He said that the timelines in the different universes were stacked on top of each other. So here's one, here's another, here's another. So the Lokis all exist at once, just in different timelines. That's why
Timelines or universes?
universes. Sorry.
There's
So
a
that's
difference.
why they could interact with each other. But he basically said bye to all those other universes and created one timeline. So the timeline and the universes have to go like this. You know that the atom thing that goes like this.
Yes.
Okay, so they're
symbol.
intertwined. So it can't only be the timeline. He destroyed all of those other things to make it only this singular timeline in this singular universe. But I think on all the universes that the timelines are completely different.
So the way that I'm understanding it is a little bit different than both of you guys. In my mind,
Enlighten me, please.
right? So there's the sacred timeline, which the TVA mentions, and this is the doctrine
we'll
that
say
they
that's his
that they
universe.
follow.
I almost think it's his universe.
Well, but it's our universe. It's the Marvel universe. That the sacred
it's
timeline.
his timeline.
The sacred timeline is everything that we have seen up until this point
In our
in the
universe.
MCU.
But I
Yes.
don't. I think the timeline and the universe are interchangeable.
But sure. So on that sacred timeline, there are the variants. That's a branch, right? So if a Loki, which happens all the time apparently, if a Loki does something that they're not supposed to do, like grab the Tesseract at the end of Avengers in 2012 and poof away instead of getting arrested and going back to Asgard, then He Who Remains goes in, uses the TVA to prune that timeline. So it's not a branch anymore. So the sacred timeline remains. So all the variants of Loki, the Black Loki, Classic Loki, Kid Loki, and Croc Loki, those are all different variants. So at one point,
But they're in different universes.
No,
Well,
all the same
but
timeline in the same universe.
it's all on the same timeline in a way, right? So like a variant of Loki is him being born as a girl, and as soon as she's doing anything other than what boy Loki has done to get to be on the sacred timeline, that's when she gets pruned and becomes Sylvie. Right, so if Loki gets born as a crocodile, then that's a variant, and we can't have that. So we got to
So
prune
it's
it.
not in a crocodile universe.
If Loki grows up just
See,
as
I
he
thought they
just
were
as
each
he
in a separate universe.
just as he normally does and becomes a kid, that kid kills Thor, that's a variant, and so it's gotta go. So when they get pruned, they just get sent to the end of time where Alioth, the big monster
Goliath.
that he who remains can control, eats it all and literally destroys it from existing. Right?
But that doesn't make sense to me because you can't have a girl and an alligator and a whatever all in the same timeline.
But see, that's
But yes,
why they become variants.
I thought they were in
because
different universes.
But that's the thing, is the variance. A variant is just a being who creates a branch, and that branch without the TVA.
But if you're in one timeline, this is the timeline. There can't be multiple Lokis at once.
But that's what I'm saying, is that they become multiple timelines. That's what the branches all are. So the sacred timeline is what he's keeping. That's what we've seen. That's everything up through Avengers Endgame or whatever.
That's
right?
our universe.
That's our universe. And there have been branches coming off of those all the time. Everything we've seen has had a
That's
branch
fine.
come off of it.
Yeah, listen though.
But he's pruning it all.
That if Loki is in this time, let's think Loki,
Okay.
our Loki, made a bad decision that created a branch, so they pruned him.
Yes.
That is in this universe,
this
Yeah.
timeline.
this timeline. Alligator Loki ain't in the same thing. He way up here in this timeline, and he made a bad decision, and then they pruned him. I don't think they pruned him because he was an alligator.
oh yeah, they did.
No, so that's
Fuck him
where
and an
like
alligator.
But I think that the universes are all stacked.
here's the
still.
deal. I would have liked it to be that way.
Sure.
Because it makes sense, but it's not that way in this show.
I think we're overthinking it.
It's all
there's
in the
that too.
same.
But there's
universe,
this because
same
right at the
timeline.
end, like I don't mean to just skim over everything because I disliked it before all of this, but at the end he ends up in a different universe.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I'm
He's
saying
not
the
in-
branches are different
Well,
universes.
that's because that dude died and unleashed everything.
Right.
That's why he's.
But
in a
I think the
different universe.
branches are different universes.
Yeah,
I don't think.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but there
Or
can't be an
maybe it's not-
alligator Loki and a Loki in the same universe
Because
because they're each in a different universe. Like I'm this planet Loki and you're that planet Loki.
they can't like travel in between universes indeterminately on their own power. No, you're right.
Because we're not to the 31st century.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's when that technology has been developed by He Who Remains. Oh, what's his name? Oh, Big Kang. And he's the one who created all of this, the ability to travel through time, which he didn't explain how he does that. I'm
No,
not
I
sure
needed
exactly.
an explanation
So,
about
like,
that, but I don't want to
put it
travel to
this
no
way.
other timeline.
I kind of like to be right sometimes.
Okay.
So like, here's my theory.
Oh
Sometimes.
shit.
Okay, what made
he never
Loki
is.
a variant was that he took the Tesseract.
Yes.
Yeah.
He should have died.
Yes.
By taking the Tesseract, he didn't die.
Yes.
That's what
Right.
made him a variant.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm saying he became a variant is because there should have been another Loki that should have been born in that timeline after he died.
Like a reborn
A
Loki.
reincarnation of him.
But it wouldn't
now
be in the
there's
same
not.
universe. It would be in a different universe.
No, it still would be in the same universe because that
That's some
timeline.
bullshit. There's not 10 Asgards. It's only
That
one Asgard
timeline-
and one mama, and him mama dead. Can't
that
have another
timeline
kid.
is the universe.
So let me back up.
I think of the timeline and the universe as separate.
Okay.
Let's back up because I started disliking it way before we got to this whole thing.
Okay.
So for me, I felt like the episodes, okay, I take it back. First episode, I was super intrigued. So he does this bad shit from Endgame. Like
Right.
they give you that excerpt, which I freaking love.
This is great.
Them. Anyhow, he gets to his new place. He gets pruned, or not pruned. He gets taken to the TVA right
Yes.
away, and
Because he's in trouble.
because he's in troubles. And Mobius comes in and starts pretty much fucking with him because he knows that he's a trickster and all
He
this
knows that
stuff.
he's a Loki. He's dealt with a bunch of Lokis before.
Right. And so he's like giving him all this information. And no lie, I was intrigued. I was like, oh, this is an interesting take on how this is going to go. And it makes sense because he wasn't supposed to do that.
Right.
Right. So I was totally cool with that. But we get to episode 2, and please remind me what happens in episode 2. Am I missing anything from episode 1?
Well,
it was pretty much like setting up that
Pretty
story.
simple, and then they were like, "You're gonna
And he was charged.
confess your crimes," and he was like, "What crime?"
Right.
Yeah.
He talks to Renslayer. Mobius, while he's messing with him, does give him a rundown of like a whole bunch of stuff that's was supposed to happen to him,
And
stuff
shows
like
him
that.
dying
So he
with
sees,
Thanos.
He sees his mom die, and he sees
And I think-
Asgard fall, and he sees
And I think
himself die.
that's why I'm okay with him already being kind of a good guy, because he saw all of that
Yeah.
shit happen in what is real time
Sure.
to him, and he's like, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah.
So then he was like, "Okay, I'm not an asshole anymore."
Yeah.
Well, I still kind of am, but like,
Yeah.
So I was okay with
I'm
him.
changing my ways.
I was okay with him maturing a lot quicker
Yeah.
because he saw all
So at
that.
the end of episode 1, Mobius is like, I need your help, actually, because there's a Loki out there that's causing a whole bunch of problems, and I need your help to help catch him.
And I think we see like a silhouette
Yes.
of Sylvie, which we
doing,
think
doing
is
some stabbing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which in my mind, again, I was expecting to be Tom Hiddleston, but whatever.
Right.
But you
So-
said there is a girl Loki in the comics.
There are several versions of Loki in the comics, and that's
And an alligator.
yes, that's more due to him being like a magical
I was gonna say,
shapeshifter kind of
That would
kind of
make
dude.
me so much more happy if it were like he used, and again, I get that we're not going that direction, but it would make me happier if he had used the Tesseract to create, like in a magical way, create versions of himself.
Right.
And that was part of like the fuck you, like TVA was like, no,
Right.
like you can't do that, because he has projected himself places all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
And they
bad
had
stuff.
more substance, and now they're a crocodile, and they're a girl, and they're a this and that. That, in my mind, would be more acceptable than all this other timeline bullshit.
Yeah, it's so interesting because this doesn't bother me, but as soon as you start talking about Doctor Who's and how there's like 10 doctors, I'm like, I'm done.
But
Well,
that's more of a reincarnation
That's
thing.
reincarnation, yeah.
Well,
Anywho, go to episode
So
2.
episode 2 is called The Variant. It says Loki joins a TVA mission. They go to 1985 in Wisconsin, where he stalls and attempts to bargain his way into meeting the timekeepers. Let's see here. Renslayer objects to Loki's further involvement, but Mobius convinces her to give him another chance. Loki researches TVA files and theorizes that the variant is hiding near apocalyptic events. And then they go to Pompeii, and he tests that out. And
Which was
hiding
funny.
in
Which is very
apocalypses because I mean at that point you're gonna die. So whatever you do,
Doesn't
that's
matter.
gonna cause a
Yeah.
variant. Doesn't
you
really
and
matter.
everyone in this
You want a
direct
huggy?
area
Hey,
is going to die.
Adeline,
Addie.
this is my child. Adeline, would you like to tell us how you feel about Loki?
Yeah, I mean, cookies.
What?
You like Loki?
Say it louder.
No,
You have to talk into the microphone.
I like Captain America, the favorite Avenger.
Oh.
He's your favorite Avenger. What about Loki? Do you like Loki?
And I like Loki too.
Yeah. Okay. Uh-oh, she found the goods.
All right,
okay,
good night,
good night,
Adeline.
honey. Love
Bye.
you.
Good night. So
And
yeah.
that was brought to you by Emily's daughter.
Adeline Ruiz.
Thanks, Adeline. So he finds out about the apocalypses, because basically the idea is that if everyone is going to die in this immediate area, you can go to this place and not cause any variations in the timeline.
Because you're going to die anyway.
Because everything is going to be wiped out from this particular spot. So Pompeii,
It's like a natural pruning.
Asgard, when Ragnarok happens, those kinds of places.
It's a natural
So I'm
prune.
actually cool with that. That makes sense.
It was cool.
Is this the episode where they go to the Kmart? It's not really a
Yes,
Kmart.
they go to 2050 Alabama.
I thought that was episode 3.
During a hurricane. So it's right here in episode 2.
Oh.
There they are ambushed by the variant, who enchants several locals and the Hunter B-15. The variant
who
reveals
I like a lot.
Hunter B-15 is great. She was in Lovecraft Country.
Yeah, and so was...
and
so
so
was
is He Who Remains. Both of those actors.
You haven't seen that show. It's really
And
good.
they're both very good. Let's see here. The variant reveals herself to be a female version of Loki and rejects his offer to overthrow the timekeepers together. And she...
I still wasn't mad about her
Oh,
being a female.
I
like,
would have been
alright.
perfectly fine with everything if those 3
the timekeepers?
the timekeepers were real.
if
No,
they had
we'll
been...
let
I would've been
Andre
perfectly
Hold on,
explain
we're not
Kane.
there yet. We're still in episode
Andre
2.
will explain
so that I
Kane
can.
the Conqueror is at the
No,
end.
no, I get all that, but I'm just letting you know what I would have preferred.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Let us get there, and you can obviously put in your input, but I'm trying to go episodically so I can tell you where I was like, "Urgh." So even the second one, I was like, okay, this is interesting. I think it's when Sylvie
Revealed herself.
revealed herself, because again, I think I didn't give me enough information
I was
as
okay
to
with
why
Why she was a girl?
why she wasn't Tom Hiddleston.
Why
I
she
think.
was Loki. Because, like, okay, so when this happened for me,
All I
you know, they're really setting up a big mystery here.
Sure.
Who is this mystery variant? Or they keep calling it a Loki, but we haven't seen their face or whatever. And so when Sylvie reveals herself, she's like, I'm you or whatever. And he's like, oh, all right, well, sure. And Loki himself kind of accepts it. But I think us as the audience is supposed to not really accept it at first.
Sure.
Because
I looked at
it's not even a
you-
girl that looks like Tom Hiddleston. You
No.
know, if it had been a black-haired girl with, you know, somewhat similar features to him, it would have been one
Yeah.
thing.
I think I would have enjoyed that better.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I don't know.
I liked her a lot though. So I looked at you and I was like, "There's a girl Loki," and you were like, "Yeah, there's a girl Loki in the comics, and she kind of looks like that, and she has his horn or whatever." And I was like, "Okay,"
Which I
So
did
then
like that. I wish she wore it the
and
whole
then I
freaking
was
time it
over
was
it
sick.
because I
yeah.
was like, "Okay, there's a girl Loki, whatever."
Yeah, but I still didn't know at that point what they were doing, you know, because there is a lady Loki in the comics, and like I said, it's more of a magical thing where Loki at one point is kind of like tired with this version of himself, and so he does a cool gender swap or whatever, and is a woman for a certain period of time, and then behaves a little bit differently and in her mischievous ways
Sure.
or whatever. But she wasn't a blonde lady. Like it would have looked like a
Yeah.
female Tom Hiddleston, you know, in my mind.
Looks like Violet from The Incredibles.
Yeah, long dark hair and
kind of like,
yeah.
I didn't mind the girl
it had to have been
one
greasy.
either.
Right.
At first, I was thrown off, but then I was like, oh, okay, cool, move on.
It didn't bother me.
And I like the actress a lot.
No, she's cool. I'm not a
Sophia-
I must have seen her in something else.
I hadn't really known her.
So I
from
think that
anything.
threw me off a little bit. So
I think episode 3 was my favorite. Is this where they went to the apocalypse and she was like, "You dumb shit"?
no, that's the next one I think, or maybe they did it right at the end.
Yeah,
but
that's episode 3. Lamentus. That's the planet that they're on.
okay, so
that is getting
this
destroyed.
one
This one was my favorite one. I
oh
think.
see, this was like my least favorite because I felt like I liked the end of it, I guess. So they're pretty much they take a time pad. What is it
A
called?
temp pad.
A
Temp
temp
pad.
pad, and they shoot themselves to a apocalypse.
An apocalypse
'cause they
in the
get
future.
caught.
And yeah, they get caught, send themselves to an apocalypse, and then they need to charge up the temp pad because they can't get anywhere else.
It ran out of power.
Right.
And so she knows a lot about this apocalypse, and she's like, shit's going downhill
She's like,
quick.
"You fucking idiot!
Like,
Why are
let's
we here?"
go. And so they're running around doing this and that. And I guess what my problem with it is I felt like there was no storyline in this episode.
Right.
Like, it was just blanket them running around.
It was them bonding.
Yeah. This
Which
this
I
is
really
the
liked.
this is the Loki
And
meets Sylvie episode.
And I think this can go two opinions of ways. That you're like, it's okay that they like each other, or you're like, that's fucking weird that they like each other. And I was weirdly okay with it. I was like, well, Loki's a narcissist, so it makes sense that he'd be
Yeah.
into himself, so I don't really care. He came out as bi. I was
I mean,
like, that
does
sounds like Loki.
exist in our normal world.
Like,
Right.
you know, so that didn't bother me too much. I was just more like, okay, he's bonding with somebody for once in his fucking life. Great.
And that didn't bother me either. I think it was that there was no
Storyline.
storyline to it. Like,
Right.
I didn't
the
feel like
storyline
there
was
was
them bonding, I thought.
Yeah, I think in the breakdown of
And I thought the whole ending where the city was falling apart was like cinematically like beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, it was very
that was
cool.
very cool. All of these episodes were directed by one woman. Her name is Kate Herron. I think she's going to be directing something else MCU in the future, but I'm not exactly sure.
yes, it was beautiful, no doubt.
But yeah, I think in the breakdown of episodes as they're like writing them or whatever, they're like, okay, so Sylvie reveals herself, and then Loki and Sylvie need to go somewhere and just kind of
Bond.
talk it out for an
Like,
hour.
what's your
basically,
deal?
right?
What's my deal? What the fuck
So
are
the
you
story
doing?
is basically just them hiding out in this apocalypse, and their temp pad runs out of power, so they have to find a way to get that working so that they can escape the apocalypse. Otherwise, they will die. Right? And
then
you're right. It is fairly thin.
It's
but
thin, but it was needed because of the touch at the end where they created a branch that Mobius was able to find them.
Not just that, but I also think that it is about them
They
building
needed to learn to trust.
building up Sylvie's character.
Which I didn't feel like they did very well.
Well, you
yeah,
know,
Sylvie let me down in the end. We'll get there. But
I just feel like I needed to care about her more,
Mhm.
and I think that
I really liked
they
her.
kind of blindly wanted me to like her more than I feel like was warranted.
See, I thought she was very charismatic, so I liked her. I mean, I still had all eyes on our Loki.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, because he's, like, the best, and he's just such a great actor. But I didn't, like... I found her intriguing. Maybe not find this episode. I think 4 and 5, I was like, I love this girl. And then 6, I was like, fuck her.
right. Yeah, I
That's the point. I
So Sylvie grew on me pretty quickly. Like, I think by the time that in episode 3, when they're having their discussion back and forth in like the bar or whatever where they're hiding out, and he's like, "Hey, it's an Asgard kind of bar. It starts singing some songs and acting Asgardian." And
that
she's
literally made me laugh so hard. That was
The
fantastic.
song,
Very
and he's
fun.
like, another one.
Yeah. I
Thor.
was
You're
like,
like,
Yes.
oh, this dude is a Viking. I forgot.
Yeah.
But she's like, well, I didn't actually really grow up with that experience. I got pruned when I was like 6 or whatever. I didn't really get to experience Asgard like you did for centuries and centuries or whatever. And so I thought that was an interesting aspect of her character, that she, you know, was born a Lady Loki or whatever, and then she was like,
I love how you call her a Lady Loki.
and you know, at this point, I was still under the impression that this was going to be like another type of reveal.
Yeah.
Like I you know, they hadn't really said like how she was a female Loki yet, so I wasn't sure if it was going to be someone pretending to be Loki, some other magic user, because there are a couple of, you know, green magic users in the comics or whatever with blonde hair that do the same kinds of stuff.
lime green or green usually means evil in Disney, right?
Exactly.
Mhm.
So I wasn't sure if it was going to be one of them pretending to be Loki for some ulterior motive or whatever.
I
Or
kind of expected that at some point, like one of them to pretend to be Loki,
yeah.
because how are they verifying that these people are Loki?
I don't know. They like in
Like,
the
there's
Just
no
know
DNA.
that
In-
what's his face knows all for some reason.
in the first episode
But like,
he,
how does Mobius in the TVA know?
he goes through like the screening
Because I
process.
think they're being controlled by the other guy.
He who remains. He in the first episode, Loki goes through like the screening process where they're like, "Are you now, or have you ever been a robot, or whatever?" Which is really funny.
Yeah, they have all sorts of tech because we're trying to think he's way in
like,
the future.
please sign
right?
this to
Yeah.
confirm this is everything you've ever said. You know, it's a gigantic stack
That
of
was
paper or whatever.
fucking
That was fun. So I guess it's through that bureaucracy part.
Yeah,
of the
they got their
TVA.
screening, and don't they get like some type of DNA snippet from them as well
Yeah.
to prove it?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Like the big scary machine and like sliced off all his clothes real quick or whatever, and then like sent him down a chute. I think maybe it took a sample or something like that at some point.
But like previous to that, how did they know this was like a Loki branch? Just because there was a variant there?
Because
but then how
they're
did they know
way
it
in the
was Loki?
future. The TVA is so far in the future,
they
it's not
exist
even funny.
outside of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And they have so much tech. Like, they literally know everything.
So they can drop in
I'm
and
trying
out.
to think about how much the government knows about me right now. Like, let's say thousands of years from now, I know everything about fucking everybody. I got predictive text in life.
Right.
Okay.
But not only because of all of that, but because the character of Loki is one who causes all kinds of variant problems. So they encounter him more than any other
Variant.
character.
Yeah.
Because he's an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
Glorious purpose.
Glorious purpose.
Dude.
So
I loved it when every other person made fun of him. It was fantastic.
Glorious
Yeah,
purpose.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite episodes.
But like even the other people making fun of
I
him,
know.
it's like, ooh.
Oh, it's Loki.
Andre was so excited about that one. Is that the next one?
I think so. But I just wanted to finish saying that, like, I still wasn't sure if Sylvie was some other character or like a Loki that had like been born as Tom Hiddleston and then did like a magical transgender kind of thing and is doing that, and that's what caused the variancy or whatever. So there was still like some mystery
been.
about it. But the fact that she said that she grew up and she was pruned immediately and had to be on the run for her
I
whole
thought
life.
it was interesting that
I
they
thought it
were
was
both
interesting.
kind of like, we're bi.
Yes.
I was like, oh, okay.
This is the big Disney drop.
Sounds like a Loki thing to do.
The LGBT drop. Which, by the way, I had one email about Raya and the Last Dragon. Hang on, let me read it real quick.
Oh, fitting for this moment?
Yes, exactly. So this one's from
Porque we talked about LGBT in that one and in Luca.
Anne and Luca. Yes. So
People are still shipping Luca, dude.
Luca and Alberto.
Luke Berto.
This one comes in
Luke
from
Berto.
Tangerine Hippie. She says, as far as their age and being kind of young to flirt in some cultures, they get married at a young age, so it only makes sense that they would flirt so young as well in Raya and the Last Dragon. So yeah,
Good point.
she's just bringing in a point about young flirting or whatever. But yeah, we've gone through a couple of different movies, a Disney animation, a Disney Pixar, and now a Disney Marvel. Where is it gay? I don't know. Is it gay? I don't know. Is
He
it
never
gay?
said he was
Yes.
bi, though. What did they say? Like, he's like, I've had my fair share of.
Both.
Both.
She said.
Yeah.
She said.
Yeah.
I'm sure you. She said you're a prince, aren't you? I'm sure you've had a princess in your life, or maybe a prince. And he says a bit
Reminds
of
me of
both.
Constantine in the DC world.
With the not Keanu Reeves Constantine.
No, not Keanu
The-
Reeves.
the blonde
Constantine,
one,
The
the
blonde
blonde
one.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, that guy is so funny. I like him.
But yeah, his.
But that guy just fucks anything that walks.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anything that walks.
Seriously.
No, like, for
Oh, you
sure.
got a pulse? Sounds great.
Nice.
Oh. All right, then.
Hey, was good with that pulse though.
Are you a demon? Are you a human? Are you
Yeah.
a spirit? Well, I'm down.
Let's go.
And they don't even have a pulse, nor
Yeah.
did they walk.
Can you
Ghosts don't walk.
speak?
It's okay.
So yeah, Loki's revealed to have to be bisexual, and as is Sylvie. So
I mean,
they were like, boom, we dropped 2 gays on you right in one
I
episode,
wasn't
suckers.
surprised by that. I feel like we kind of already knew that. Like, I feel like there was probably a scene in Thor where they were all like, if it was like a rated R movie, it would have been them on Asgard like having an orgy or something. Like, that sounds like something Asgardian.
I mean,
Because I won't
maybe.
even lie, I thought that the
Like-
Grand Master was like flirting with everybody
Right.
all
Everybody,
time.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
for
is
sure.
That's
funny.
true. He's the first confirmed.
No, like,
He was out there trying to get it with
This was of no
everybody.
surprise to me, but it was kind of nice.
He
to
was
have
like,
them.
"Hey, Korg, I know you were rocking
up,
all, but
Korg?" It was nice to have
Looking
them,
hard, dude.
like, say it, I guess. So that's cool.
Yes, exactly.
Looking
It's
hard.
it's nice. It's nice
you
that
Have
made
them
me
say it.
snort. Come on.
it's nice that they were able to say it out loud.
Verbalize it.
in this. Yes,
That's cool.
verbalize it. So
But
yeah.
I'm not surprised.
So all of that was
you
just
told me Loki's bi, I'd be like, uh-huh.
all
Yeah.
that was just adding to the Sylvie and Loki characters and relationship, which
Okay.
I am at this point liking.
And
So
I
I
was
would
like
say-
ready for a Marvel romance. So I think that's why I was really digging this show. I was like, oh, they can get together right now. This is narcissistic and crazy, and I love it.
Yeah.
And there's not a ton of romances per se in Marvel. Like, you have Cap and Peggy and, whatever. But not like these kind of crazy romances where I was like, I ship this. Like, let's go. I need another episode. I was sold.
So, okay. I mean, I will allow it, even though in the moment I was not happy because I felt like there was no plot to that episode.
Sure.
And because this is so episodic, I felt like I was left after that episode like, all right,
Did
so
you feel like a waste of an episode? Because
I kind of did.
So
I felt like, okay, so
I felt they could have squeezed that in like 5 minutes of another episode.
I loved that episode.
I kind of agree with you guys in that the plot was pretty flat. So like throughout that episode, Loki and Sylvie, they have to like make their way onto a ship, and that ship is going over to a different ship or something like that because they're trying to escape from the planet in the only way that they can without the tempad or whatever. And the way that they were doing it was like real slow and kind of meandering, and they were like, all right, well, let's walk 50 miles across this desert as we, as this planet explodes or whatever. And, he has to, or she has to like enchant a guy, and he impersonates a dude and puts on a weird suit. And you're right. The plot of this episode didn't super stack up, but once again, I liked all.
I really liked it.
I liked the dialogue and
it was a cool cliffhanger at the end.
right
Because they didn't do the whole reveal. It was just like that ship exploded and then it ended. And I was like, oh shit, are they going to die?
yeah,
And
it
then-
definitely felt like they were going to die. But in my head, I was like, okay, they're going to do something where Mobius is going to be able to find them, right?
Yeah.
So that probably lasts 10 minutes. Dig it. It was good. And the whole like explosion in like the little town part, it felt very Star Warsy to me. That
Right.
whole
Yeah.
part. But that
I
was
love watching Loki use his magic, like buildings are falling, and
Hell
he's
yeah.
like moving them and stuff. So I really liked that.
yeah,
scene.
that
was
whole
really cool.
part was good. I think it was up until that part where I was like, all right. But
I dug
anywho, so move along.
So
What's
next episode,
4?
they are bonding. It looks like they're gonna die, but they touch like arms or whatever.
Yes.
I don't know if they hold hands or they have a look, and that creates a branch. So I feel like that episode was needed for them to bond, or else that branch wouldn't have happened, type of thing.
Right.
I mean, they could have made it shorter and just had some sexual tension, like,
They already had sexual tension.
no,
in
I
this
mean, like, hey, I ain't had none. You okay? You me? Oh, me you?
Loki's
oh,
a
the same.
changed man, okay? He was trying to be nice. So
You don't oughta be
they
no
get
noise.
found. Mobius gets them, but like arrests them, and they're in like separate jails. And then Mobius freaking puts Loki in a time loop,
Time loop.
and
which
it's
is very
what's her
funny.
what's her
Lady
name?
Sif.
Sif.
Lady Sif just freaking nailing him in the balls,
Which is
over
so cool.
and over.
We haven't seen Sif in a movie since Thor: The Dark World. I'm pretty sure it's been a while.
Lady
We saw
Sif
her-
was also in Marvel.
Yeah,
That's
we
right.
saw-
She was on Agents of Shield.
yeah, she was on Agents of
Oh,
Shield.
was
Was the
she?
last time I saw her.
Yes, you're right. That
Yeah.
was after Thor: The Dark World. But yeah, it's still it has been a while since
Yeah.
this character has shown up.
and she just gets to repeatedly nail
she
him.
just nails him. She's
It's
like,
hilarious.
Look,
Dang,
you're
that
such a
would stink,
self-centered.
man.
I think my favorite part too is that he starts to appeal to her, like he realizes he's not getting
He's like,
anywhere being a
okay,
dickhead,
okay.
and he's like, I'm gonna, I'm sorry for the way I treated
Dude,
you.
time
and-
loops are a fantastic timeout. Like,
Oh.
That's awful.
He really learned a lesson.
If I was in a
Got kicked in
time
the
loop
nards
of
over
like
and
one
over.
of the most,
like embarrassing moments of your life.
it's absolutely horrible.
I would have appreciated.
Like dying time and time after
Mhm.
time.
It was like a Doctor
Doctor Who.
Strange moment
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
he just kept killing, or he
Right.
just kept dying.
Hey,
Dormammu, I've
Dormammu.
come to bargain.
Hey,
That was fantastic.
Dormammu.
Her mom was like, "Yeah, okay, mother."
Yeah,
Hey,
And I like how he says
Dormammu.
it different every time. Dormammu.
Dormammu.
yeah. He gave.
Watch the Doctor Strange show at Avengers Campus, by the way.
Dude,
Oh,
what
for
if
sure.
Dormammu was Goliath?
You know, we'll talk
Goliath.
about what if show coming next. So.
So,
Right.
with that being said, I would have enjoyed seeing maybe 2 or 3 of these time loop situations
Sure.
with him,
Mhm.
because obviously we had no idea this Lady Sif interaction happened,
Right.
because it was
It
just
was
like beyond a movie.
previous to Thor.
But I would have
interaction or whatever,
enjoyed
right.
seeing maybe 2 or 3, just
Yeah.
because it shows different aspects of Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a different situation,
Like
right?
maybe they should have gotten those other Warriors 3, right? Those other 3 dudes, and
Oh,
had
yeah.
him have interactions where they're mad at him, because I'm sure that happened. You
That
know,
would
Right.
have been funny. So basically, he gets out of the time loop, and Mobius is like, "You're gonna tell me why you left me and betrayed me for Sylvie." And he's like, "Dude, guess what Sylvie told me? Okay, y'all are variants. This TVA's not real. There's a dude controlling us, because she can like enchant them." Right, so she can touch them and enchant them, and then she's seeing their past memories, which means that their memories have been wiped and they're all variants. So that's the big reveal of this episode.
right?
And
No.
that's another thing I don't like. So I think it's sick that she can do that. That's a sick ass power. But what was the point? Okay, I'm down with like there being a higher power and then being controlled, because I feel like that was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
The fact that they don't know anything other than the like
the TVA.
them thinking they were born into this or whatever.
Right.
But I
Destined to do
don't
this.
see the importance of them being variants.
So I think because the show
Just free
it's
labor.
it's the free will thing, right? So the He Who Remains guy, which we see in the very last episode, right? He's presenting his whole plan, and it seems fairly benevolent, right? He's like, I'm doing this for the good of all mankind, because otherwise there'd be a multiversal war. But the way that it actually pans out is that he is taking away free will and encroaching upon these people's lives and memories and minds
Yeah.
in a very villainistic kind of way. And he even says, "Hey, Lokis, we're all villains here,"
Yeah.
you know? So I think that part about all of the TVA being variants is just kind of there to put it in your mind that this is not right.
Yeah.
And that whoever's controlling this organization is not a good person.
Yeah.
Because even though He Who Remains says that he's doing it all for the greater good or whatever, it turns out that this is pretty sucky and not cool, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's sucky and it's not cool, but I was also kind of like, I feel it.
Right. Yeah.
So are you
and so is
telling
Loki.
me then that just because I'm assuming Mobius was just some random normal person?
Yes.
Not allowed to like jet skis.
So
and
like
then
poor
they
guy, you know, he lived in like the mountains or
Yeah, I
something.
know.
He ain't never been. He's landlocked. He ain't never been on no jet ski. So
Poor guy.
I want to know then, like, again, this is me just overthinking it, I think. But I can understand why Loki would have a variant because he's an important person in our timeline, not
Right.
like because he's he's a villain.
Yeah.
He's out there doing some crazy ass shit. Like him doing the Battle of New York, even though it's on the timeline, is doing enough disruption
Right.
to cause notice, which makes me understand more why he would be a variant.
Yes.
But like, why is this like Owen Wilson guy just some random ass dude a
We don't
variant?
know his
Variant.
story.
Why
I don't
are,
know.
why are any of these people
Yeah.
variants? So I think that's another thing is that he who remains the leader of all of this, he's a very smart individual, very, very smart. And so in order to stop this multiversal war, in order to successfully prune the entire timeline, however many years that actually encompasses, if it's millions and billions of years or whatever, I think he has to make very precise prunings. So
I think it's random
but-
too. It's like, sorry, you picked mayonnaise on your sandwich.
Right.
You weren't supposed to do that.
exactly,
But like that's how sensitive the timeline is.
exactly. So I think like in some cases it is like the God of Mischief Loki stole one of the cosmic Infinity Stones, the Tesseract, and he disappeared from a time where he wasn't supposed to be. It's like boom, that's a variant.
Right.
But also it's like, yeah, you put the wrong mayonnaise on your sandwich, and that's not going to line up. Because of that, it's going to butterfly effect into the multiversal war starting. So
Which
we gotta
that's
prune
how
it.
time is. So I get that. Like one tiny thing can. That's why you're not supposed to see yourself when you. What's that thing from Harry Potter?
You're not supposed to see
time turn?
other versions of your time turner
Yeah.
self. Yeah, it
When
can
time turn.
drive you mad.
Can't
I
mess
thought
up
as
the
you're
time.
not supposed to be seen by the other versions. Not you. You can see yourself all you
Yeah,
want.
yeah, that's true.
Well,
can
yeah.
see
You don't
yourself.
want the
You can
past
see
self
yourself
to
on the
see you.
toilet.
To
You
see
just
your
Well,
future
and you're just
self.
not
on the
supposed
toilet
to.
can't
You're not
see you.
supposed to mess with things.
Why
when
does it
you're-
have to be on the toilet?
It's a paradox
You're
kind
not
of
supposed
thing.
to mess with things. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I think in all in all, yeah, there are variants of everyone. There are variants of you and me and Iron Man and Captain America. But
So doppelgangers out there being pruned.
yes, exactly. And he who remains takes whoever he wants, whoever he finds useful
of
enough
dumb
to
Yeah,
be
the
in
most
the TVA.
useful version gets to stay.
Yeah,
Interesting. Okay, so I will say that in the moment I did not.
think of it like
I
that.
didn't think that it was an important enough. I realized it was a big reveal, but I
Mhm.
didn't feel like it was an important enough reveal for, like. I mean, he
The
already
TVA
wanted.
and its-
He already wanted to take down the timekeepers.
Right.
So I feel like that wasn't an. I think just them. I don't know.
I thought they were aliens at first.
Oh, for
Like
sure.
those
I thought
Watcher thingies.
Oh, I thought they were going to be aliens in general.
And I thought they were real too. I mean, I believe there's a version of the Timekeepers in the comics. I haven't read one of those particular stories,
Those are
but
those things that we're watching, everybody.
so those are the Watchers. We saw that at the end of Guardians 1 or Guardians 2, where Stan Lee is like hanging out with these big-headed
Yeah,
dudes
yeah.
on the
I
moon.
thought it was them.
So those are the Watchers. And in the comics, those guys they can see all. They are omniscient beings, but they can never interfere. So you know that when
So it's like that movie coming up.
what movie?
There's a movie coming up where these peeps have been on Earth since the beginning of time.
that's the Eternals. So they're different. They're more like
Gosh, that was the same
mutants or
thing,
something
Marvel.
like that.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. But the Watchers are like alien beings that see everything, see all, and like one is assigned to Earth. And so if you know that if the Watcher shows up, that some big shit is going down, and we better be careful because the Watcher's here. And
Oh, it reminds me of that dude in The Flash.
Which
who
one?
I don't know what his name was, but he was very much he was in all the episodes, and he was training Barry because of some huge global event was gonna happen. You know what I'm talking about? It was the black guy.
I don't
The Watchers
remember.
remind me of him.
Right, yeah, it's the same kind of thing, an omniscient type of being, and there is going to be a Watcher in the What If cartoon.
okay.
Voiced by
So
Jeffrey Wright.
okay, so that was my major issue. Was like if everyone's already like it could have just been like, hey, like I don't know. I realized that was like the catalyst for Mobius to
Right.
like start questioning.
To start
things,
questioning, yeah, and I think
but it never went anywhere with him. Like
yeah, he had
importance-wise.
like a confrontation
Well, he
with
broke him
with
out.
Renslayer, and yes, he breaks
He
out.
broke him
Yeah.
out, and then they went to the Timekeepers. They were fighting. They were like busting and blah 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 blah.
I guess
and then
I
it was
mean
a
like
robot.
Mobius had no importance
So that-
in his variants.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that differs this show from the other shows.
Yeah, at the end, Mobius was getting bland, unfortunately.
That's the thing that differs about this show between the other shows, because this show has already been revealed to have a season 2. So I don't know that they necessarily. They definitely did. They wrote it with that in mind. I think.
Yeah,
I think
for
so.
sure.
So He Who Remains is going to return. Sylvie's going to return. Mobius is going to return. Everybody we're going to
Story's not
see
over.
again. Story is not over. Stories will continue. So
Which is obviously different. Like Cap and Cap
right.
doesn't need one because they're just going to move on into the next movie with them being them.
Exactly.
And kind of the same thing with WandaVision too. Like
Yeah.
the story has
She got
broken
closure.
down and
Yeah.
closures happen.
But I do think that those ended a little bit more solidly
Yeah.
than this one. You know, like WandaVision ends and she's the Scarlet Witch now, and Vision is this white Vision that we don't know
I don't
what's going
even
to
want
happen.
to talk about the ending of this shit because I was so pissed.
And then in
I was screaming. I
Falcon
threw
and
my
Winter
blanket on the
Soldier,
floor.
Falcon has become Captain America, and now we'll see him in future stuff. But at the end of this, it's like everything's broken, and I don't know what's going to go on. You know, it's a lot more cliffhangery of a season
All right, so
finale
let's go through these
than the other
last 2
ones.
episodes. Okay, the end of this episode, freaking Loki gets pruned. Okay, he opens
Yes.
his eyes and he sees a black Loki, a Loki, a kid Loki, and an alligator Loki.
Fucking alligator.
I love the alligator Loki.
I sent Andre a picture of this dude. He was wearing an alligator suit and he had the Loki horns on. I said, "There's your Halloween costume."
It's not bad. It's not bad.
You have to lay on the floor the whole night.
Yeah. So Loki gets pruned, and up to this point in the show, we've all thought that like when
don't
you
know what
prune,
it means,
well,
really.
either when you pruned, you die, or you cease to exist, or you go to the beginning of time, or you go to the end of time. We didn't know
Yeah, we
exactly
had no
what was,
idea.
what was
We
going to
had no
happen.
idea.
But Loki gets pruned. It's a very surprising moment, and then he wakes up in the post-credit scene, and he's in a different realm.
So they tell us that when you get pruned, you go to the end of all time,
Right.
where Eliath is there and he eats all these pruned
Do
timelines.
the final pruning, you know. he's really gonna get in there and chomp on you and cease your existence.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is where every variant that doesn't end up in the TVA must go here to the end.
and there's
of
a
time.
lot of Lokis there because they're tough and they don't.
Lokis are survivors, so
There's a lot of Lokis
there's
there.
a lot
They're
of
roaches,
Lokis.
man.
Yeah, they're like roaches. They'll survive through the end of time, which is cool. I like that a lot, and I did like the different variations of Loki. I kind of wanted there to be more.
Did you see the freaking
honestly.
the mouse Thor? And he was trapped and he was like,
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that
He
on the
was so
ground.
cool.
So he's not a mouse. He's a frog.
Oh, it was Frog. Yeah,
he's a
Frog Thor.
He's Frog Thor.
Wait, isn't there a statue of him in one of the? I could have. No, that's the other guy. BoJack Thor.
You're thinking of the horse, the horse guy. What's his freaking name?
BoJack Thor.
Yeah, BoJack Thor. But yeah, that's in Ragnarok. There's a statue of him somewhere. But yeah, Frog Thor is like a crocodile Loki. Is basically just a different version of the world, kind of like with Peter Porker, Spider Ham. You know,
I
is
fucking
animal
can't
version
please
of
stop.
of the
That
heroes.
was the
Peter Porker.
worst part of that movie.
That's the
Porker
best.
is the worst.
My hands are wet because I just washed my hands.
Shut up.
No other reason. The movie was great. That
Why do
movie's
you have
fantastic.
hands? You should have had hooves.
Oh yeah, I guess. So Loki gets pruned, and we see him in this the end of time. The other Lokis explain to him that they're survivors. So in order to survive, we got to get away from
Yo,
Elias.
kid Loki says he killed Thor. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
He
man.
killed Thor?
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
I mean, they were kids, so.
Yes.
I feel
Knocking
like
over my Cheerios. I don't think so, buddy.
Bye.
You ain't got no hammer to protect you right now, buddy. Which is cool. So towards the end of that episode, Loki and Sylvie. Oh, that's right. Sylvie also gets pruned.
No, she
She
prunes
prunes
herself.
She
herself.
prunes herself.
She was like, fuck this shit, Ravonna.
Yeah, Ravonna Renslayer is
I don't like her. Her
trying-
storyline was dull.
her storyline is weird, but a little bit interesting to me. But and I think that's another failure of it being written for 2 seasons. Like I think they should have wrapped a lot more of her story up by the end
She
of this
was a
season
hypocrite.
too.
I didn't like her.
Yeah, she seemed to know more than all of the other TVA variants.
But not really.
But she definitely didn't know about He Who Remains. I think she thought that the Timekeepers were real. But once it's revealed to her that the Timekeepers aren't real, she's like, well, this is still my mission, and I gotta keep doing it for me. So let's keep pruning, baby.
Do you think that she... Oh, no, because that happened after.
What?
I was going to say, do you think she was a variant because she saw B13? What was B's name?
Hunter B15.
B15 took the other person and went there, and she was like a teacher or something. But that wouldn't make sense because she was already pruned at that point.
Well, time works differently in TVA. So maybe, well, no, you're right. It doesn't work like that because...
Because I was going to say, like, did B15 fuck it up for that lady?
But maybe, because we didn't really see a conclusion to that scene. So that's in, I think, the last episode.
Yeah,
Hunter B15 takes a couple of the other TVA variant agents to a specific timeline in, like, Ohio in 1985 or something like that. And she's like, hey, check this out. And then Renslayer walks in. She's like a teacher, and she's like, what are you guys doing here? And the agent is like, whoa, my mind's blown. How are you here? But you're also my boss. This is crazy. But then that scene just ends. Like, we don't know what happens after that.
I think that that she'll have stuff to do in season 2.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Because she backs out like...
But I'm saying, what if right there and then is where a variant of her is created because she saw Hunter B15 or whatever, and she somehow found a way to like sequester that information inside of her own head, and so now that she in her future, but Renslayer in the TVA, now that she sees that the Timekeepers aren't real, some of that is coming back to her or something like that.
Maybe.
I'm not sure, and the show didn't do a good job of like showing that. You know, that's all Andre headcanon right now. So yeah. There's that. There's her.
Pew, pew.
By the end of the 5th episode, Sylvie and Mobius and Loki, along with the other Loki variants, are all at the end of time, and they've realized that the only way to get out of this is to go through Eliath, because he's the portal to whoever is controlling all of this.
He's blocking.
Yes, it's blocking the
So
entrance.
I will say that in this one, I liked all of this like otherworldly because they're in the futurist. I liked
It was like
this
New
episode
York.
in that
I was
way.
like, oh shit.
I didn't like how she just knew that Eliath was like that something was beyond this, and that's what it was. Like she just like was omniscient in that moment.
She
But
tapped them.
she's really old too,
but
right?
She tapped them.
Yeah, Luis is right.
She tapped him and saw something.
She touched it and saw, like, use her enchantment powers to see into, like, the Eliath's brain or whatever.
That's right.
And saw that there was something else inside.
Yeah, when she was being chased after it touched her a little
So
bit.
they developed a plan that we're going to have to enchant Eliath together, basically.
Very similar to how she tapped that one. Everybody, like, you know how you
Right.
get I think, was it 3 or 4 where it starts off with her and one of the agents in like a tequila bar or something?
In a tiki bar, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they're having a conversation. And
Yeah.
you think that Sylvie has just, like, created this whole image in her mind or whatever, kind of WandaVision style. But then it's revealed that, like, no, that was just one of that girl's memories, and that's how it's revealed that they're all variants, which is
I
cool.
might have appreciated it more if it was a little bit more like these things. And again, this is a Marvel thing, and it always comes back to me watching it a second time. But it's like it went by, boom, lickety split so
Dude,
fast.
You cannot look away
No,
from a Marvel screen.
you can't even like breathe.
That's why you have to watch them so much.
Because then I felt like, oh, like I guess it like if it had been a longer like segment, like she accidentally touches him, it does like a swoosh. Swoosh,
Right.
swoosh, then I would have been like, okay, but it was so instantaneous that I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like
you miss
it was too fast.
A flash
for
of
me.
green light, and it's over or whatever. So they have to fight off Eliath. Loki and Sylvie are doing a bad job at it at first, and then classic Loki comes in clutch, and him and his big old yellow horns.
He was faux show, my favorite.
He raises an entire illusion of Asgard, just an entire gigantic city, which is really cool.
Fantastic.
And I think Loki says, wow,
His
how is
story
he doing
was
that?
cool when
And
he
then-
was telling everybody about it. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so he
I liked
and
his
see,
story.
his made more sense to me
because he was a Tom Hiddleston,
Yes.
basically, right? He's a Tom Hiddleston who survived past the Tom Hiddleston of the main MCU.
Because he went on another planet.
Because he instead of sacrificing himself for Thor, he created an illusion which allowed him to escape and survive out in the cold of space, and then just hang out on a planet and just chill for eons or whatever. Until he got bored, and that's when he got pruned.
That makes way more sense to me. Like, I appreciate that.
I think I liked his explanation of how he got there the most, and I loved his outfit. That's the classic Loki.
He was
There's something about those classic outfits that are just better.
Oh yeah, when Vision was out there,
they're designed very well.
Some are better, others are not. Like I like classic Luke Cage. His was sick.
Yeah, dude.
When he barely gets out of the.
He's got the crown on and his afro, and busted yellow shirt.
Another one that I'm not thrilled on the Ant-Man one. That one's kind of too bulky,
big old silver helmet. And yeah.
But the Loki one's probably the best classic one.
I think it's because they look like, at least really with those two, the Vision and him, they're fabric-y.
Yeah.
Like it looks like not drawn, but like it's like old time fabric.
And in the comics, you know, when they're drawing the original Spider-Man or whatever, his suit is supposed to be cloth, and then the Vulture suit is also supposed to be cloth. And so when you see it on screen, and it's like just a cloth,
it's cute. I like it.
Spandex kind of thing. It's very fun.
It's like pajamas.
Yeah. So he classic Loki creates this whole big thing. Glorious purpose, baby. And that distracts Goliath long enough for Sylvie and Loki to enchant it. And when they enchant it, it's revealed that there's a secret window into a big castle through the hole. So that ends the 5th episode, right?
Can I just stop us right here?
Yes,
because I did my own like frickin' circle down. You know, you think too hard and you go into a
deep dive research. No, you're good.
You go into a vortex. So when I saw President Loki, I got 100% like, again, this is DC, I'm sorry, but like Joker vibes.
Okay.
Where he was like, he had been in an asylum. He like was using all of his magical powers to like usurp other power.
Right.
And he was completely insane, but was like Trump and like winning over people with his insanity.
Yeah.
Right.
And then was like, all right, time to take over the U.S. because I can't take over Asgard.
Did you know, like, I'm sure because you follow stuff, but in Avengers Campus, every week they were doing the Loki that was on that episode, and it was President Loki a couple weeks ago.
That would have been
fabulous. I want to meet President Loki.
Right. So anywho, in my mind, I was like, that again would have made me more happy if it's like it's his version, but instead he ended up doing this, and now he's, you know, cray or he's this or whatever.
And that's what I was expecting a lot more of too, honestly.
But it didn't bother me that it wasn't.
It didn't super bother me either. But especially in that first episode where they're like, all right, well, there's this Loki and there's this Loki and there's this Loki, and they all look like Tom Hiddleston. I was like, all right, I can't wait to see all of these dudes. And the President Loki, who had been in the trailer, I was like, all right, this is gonna be very cool. So the fact that he was just like a small glimpse, and that we didn't see any of those other variants of Loki was like, okay, well,
we'll see how season 2 goes. We might get all Tom Hiddleston.
Exactly. Yeah. Apparently he was quoted in the past couple of days saying like, I'm playing Loki forever. Like, you're not gonna stop me or whatever. So I'm like,
he's
okay,
the best. He is Loki.
Cool beans. Sounds good to me, buddy. So yes, we get to the final episode, and this is the conversation episode. I like to think of it as
the whole episode is like a conversation.
I like to think of it as the Dumbledore at the end of a Harry Potter book episode.
Fuck yeah.
Because it's like, all right, sit down, buddy. I'm going to explain everything that just happened.
Dude, okay, did Miss Minutes freak anyone else out?
Oh, yeah. Miss Minutes is creepy.
Was so fucking
Miss
creepy.
Minutes is so creepy, dude. I took a picture with her at the park, and I was like, Miss Minutes is weird. And then on this episode, I was like, oh, fuck Miss Minutes. She hella creepy.
She out here like... And again, do you remember in iRobot how Karen was the one behind it all?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I feel like Miss Minutes was like
I thought Miss
way
Minutes
more
was it.
Yeah,
I
she
was
was more
it's
behind
Miss
everything.
Minutes.
I think
Okay.
I think that she, like, okay, so if
She's a being, I think.
well, no, I would say that He Who Remains, he's the big brains or whatever, right? He programs an AI called Miss Minutes, and I think she is the one like running the TVA.
Yeah.
So she's the one who delivers the notes
Yeah.
to Renslayer, and then she puts it down the line that way. And He Who Remains is pretty hands off on all that kind of stuff. He's
See,
like,
I
I
don't
created all this
know.
bureaucracy to make
Yeah.
it work, but it's mostly just Miss Minutes.
It's like his little henchman.
Yes. Indeed.
She's so creepy though.
I know. She's voiced by Tara Strong, who you might know as Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls, or Timmy Turner from the Fairly Odd Parents. So
She plays Timmy Turner.
Yeah, she's a really big voice actress.
Is that Tommy from the Rugrats? That actress?
It might be. Hang on a second. Let me scroll way back down to the.
She got too
90s
many voice
here.
credits.
She does so many
She does
dang
so much.
cartoons, man.
She does a lot.
I think it is.
I'm still scrolling. I'm only at 2011. Oh my god.
Let me see her face. I'll tell you right now.
Oh, okay.
It is or not.
Now I gotta scroll all the way back up.
She has a really beat up Brittany Murphy type of look.
Yeah, kind of.
She's got a.
Oh no, I'm
No, I
not
think
sure
it's
that's
some-
her.
I think
No,
it's
she
somebody
looks
not
clean.
look like a beat up Brittany Murphy.
Clean.
She looks clean.
She looks well kept.
Yeah. Well kept.
She looks clean.
So yeah, Tara Strong, a great voice actress. Really liked her in this. But yes, we get to the homie who remains, the one and only. And so at this point, when he shows up, when we see him for the first time, I know that this
He
is.
is. What's that guy?
Let Andre do
I forgot
it.
his name.
I know that he is Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah, Kang the Conqueror.
So Kang the Conqueror is
He got casted on the Ant-Man.
right. He's a Marvel villain, like a big Avengers villain, like one of the big ones. He's a Thanos level type of dude. And I only know that this is him because this actor, Jonathan Majors, has been cast in Ant-Man 3, Quantumania, as Kang the Conqueror. And before this show had come out, I had no expectation that he was.
But he's
gonna
not
be
really
in
Kang
this.
the Conqueror in this episode.
Right.
Oh snaps!
Go ahead.
I know how he's Kang the Conqueror.
Go ahead.
At the end of the damn Loki,
Mm-hmm.
stuff exploding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
hold on. Like, can we get there?
Let's
please?
let Andre go.
So,
Okay, go.
So in my mind, I know that this is the bad guy, right? That's what I'm thinking. And so he proceeds to mess with Loki and Sylvie a little bit, and he's like, I'm dodging stuff because I know everything that's gonna happen. And he invites them up into his office, and he begins to explain his past and his history, and that he was once a man from the 31st century who figured out time travel, and from there started meeting different versions of himself, and then together they concocted plans to like control time and stuff like that. But then different versions of himself had more evil type of thoughts, and so they started taking over and eventually created a multiversal war where one Kang had to be on top at all times. And so this version of him
Not too bad.
this version of him, he decided to put a stop to all of that and created the Sacred Timeline and the TVA and began pruning everything that would create a multiversal war.
To keep the war at bay.
Yes, to stop it
But
from happening.
then again, he only chose himself to keep alive, so,
I was gonna say, so everybody else is dead or just
Yeah.
chilling, waiting.
That's the thing. Is
We
that
don't know.
So
they're trapped somewhere.
in my interpretation of it, it's not
They're
even,
like what are they called? Like the Titans, yeah.
They're like trapped.
yes.
A lot of Titans.
Well, yeah. So in my
And
my
who's
estimation of
running
it,
the
he
underworld?
like he stopped time in certain places so that
I wish you guys could see what Andre's
So
doing with
that
his fucking hand right
all
now.
of those other versions
Stop
of him
doing that.
would not
it's a
exist.
me, Andre.
It's a me, Andre.
Better film that.
So that all those other versions of himself would not exist, right? And so because he put the Sacred Timeline on, they don't exist, so the multiversal war can't happen, and as long as he controls it, then everything's chill. And as soon as he stops controlling it, everything's not chill, you know?
Must be nice. I'm trying to be him.
Well,
That sounds like too much fucking work.
he explains that he's been doing it for
He's
a long time,
tired.
for eons and eons, and he's an old man.
He's
and
like, by the way, I planned this shit so you would come find me so you can decide if you want to be around my replacement or not. And, if you just want to kill me and blow all this shit up, I don't really care either because I'll just come back in another version of me and I might be awesome. So,
exactly.
yeah.
This is the most timey-wimey that the show got. And
But I love this actor.
I loved it. Yeah.
Did you guys like him at least?
He was
I know.
really good.
He
I
was
liked
cool.
him.
I really liked his
I
performance.
liked episode 5 and 6.
Okay, yeah.
So it was weird because I was like cool with 1, pretty cool with 2, and then like 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, okay.
which didn't leave me feeling great because I would have liked the whole thing to like the whole thing.
So as he's explaining this, Loki,
I appreciated
Loki,
the magical elements
yeah,
to it.
yeah.
Like the whatever that was. It
Yeah.
looked
His
like
little flowy.
his little sand, kinetic sand.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So our Loki is kind of like, I know when people lie, and I don't think he's lying because he knows liars. And Sylvie Loki has trust issues and is like, he's fucking lying. So now they are on two different pages.
I won't lie, I was so happy with Loki in this part.
Right.
Because he was the Loki that I was so
that we
happy
all
with.
want to see.
Yeah, we
Right.
want
And
him
Sylvie
to be that
is
Loki.
just out to get revenge.
You know,
so.
the thing with Sylvie is, I don't know. It's unfair for me to say this,
Okay.
but at some point, you just gotta move on.
Right.
She's not going to until she kills him.
That's to me. It's like there's no other alternative. I'm not gonna sit there and mope for all of eternity.
Mhm.
You at some point you gotta move on,
So
Sylvie.
To that, I would say maybe the reason that she is much more hell-bent on revenge and stuff like that is because she didn't like grow up with her Thor. You know, by the end of Ragnarok is when Loki is really like changing over to being a pretty good guy, and it's because he's been hanging out with Thor in some way or another throughout this time, and he's been evil for most of it. But by the time that he's like, "Hey, me and my brother's home is getting destroyed. Maybe I should like chill out and we can hang out and be cool." That's when he's like settled himself. So Sylvie she didn't have anyone because she was pruned so young and just been on the run. So she's just been by herself, stewing in her own thoughts, think about stabbing dudes in the chest, and she will not stop until she actually gets to do it. That's just the way that I would justify that in my mind.
She let me down, dude. I was disappointed in her. She motherfucking kissed Loki and then pushed him through the timeline back.
Oh, yeah.
It was a very
I was
Loki
like,
thing to do.
fuck you, bitch. His heart is broken. He was sad. You don't just break a hot man's heart like that.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Not a Disney dad. Okay.
Oh my god.
He can
Okay,
be
y'all
a-
need to stop with that shit.
What?
Unless he has unless his sperm
You're telling me that
intercepted
Loki
an
doesn't
egg.
have a bunch of motherfucking kids because he was having orgies. For
Obviously, he doesn't because we haven't seen him, or maybe that's all the variants.
Oh.
He had sex
Loki
with an
has
alligator one
kids.
time.
Loki
Hey.
son, Laufey son.
My mom
Loki
just
Laufer
told
son.
me a week ago that she had someone call her, or excuse me, find her on Facebook, and then the person called her because she like made contact, whatever.
Okay.
This girl was like, "Hey, you know so and so?" And my mom was like, "Yeah, that's my brother-in-law." And she's like, "Oh, well, I'm his daughter."
What?
That's my brother-in-law. I'm his
Yeah, so my
daughter.
uncle had
Ah.
just like illegitimate child over here, like, I'm 54 and he was my dad. Okay, so
Dang.
Loki is
Loki
totally
has
a
kids.
Disney dad. Okay, so my uncle
quit
wa-
with that.
was
You
an
could
extra
say
dad.
He's a Disney stud, but Disney
Nobody
dad,
says stud.
unless he has a little version of him and of himself.
There was a little
He
bit
can
of
Okay.
Loki
that.
lick this
Did
dick.
he put his Loki Bisquick in some place? If not, then no, he's
What
no
if he had
Disney
him,
dad.
like, dick
Stop.
sucking lips, lick sucking dicks.
Oh
Stop,
goodness.
stop,
Can we
guys.
stop?
We
Guys,
devolved.
just call him a Disney stud.
We
I shall
devolved hard.
not call
Okay.
it
No, he's a
that.
Disney dad.
Anywho.
Nah.
Hashtag Disney dad for life.
Nah.
I actually kind of liked the kiss and then throw Loki away
No, that was fucked
at
up.
the end. I mean, it was fucked up, but like in a way, like in a show called Loki, where, to my knowledge, like Loki is he's always tricking people, always, constantly, nonstop.
Yeah, even at the end of our version where he's good, he still took the motherfucking Tesseract.
Right, he took the
little
Tesseract,
bitch.
and then when Thanos shows up, he's hiding a knife, and then he tries to stab him, and that doesn't work or whatever. So till the day he dies, he's a trickster. And in this moment, he is being his most genuine he's ever been. You know, he's crying, he's sniffly, he's like, I think I like you or something. I don't know what's going
Karma's
on.
a bitch.
And then the other version of him does the same shit that he's been doing his whole life, you know. And she's like, "Mwah, bye," and smooch push into.
It was fucked up. I was like, you bitch.
You
You
know,
had
we
a
all
good
done
man.
a smush.
It was yourself.
a smooch push.
You should have loved yourself.
But I mean, if she was a real Loki, she'd have stabbed him. You know, just a little knife.
Yeah, just like that, Luis.
Good God, this is going haywire.
So yeah, I like. I
Don't
like
ask
that
me to
moment.
get involved.
You want
next
some
time.
milk? Luis has milk and cookies.
So she.
Would you like some milk?
Want some milk?
So Sylvie.
Turkey.
So he who remains gives them a choice, a final choice, right? He's like, you can either kill me or you can either take over and just do what I've been doing. You guys choose who gets pruned, what gets pruned, who has free will, who doesn't, and you do it your way. Go for it. Take over. I'd like that a lot. Or you can kill me, get your revenge, and then everything's gonna turn into chaos, and it's gonna suck for you. But I'll be back, I guess.
And I love how Sylvie, like, she just thinks that
he's lying.
he wants like power and he wants glorious purpose, but like.
He's like, listen, I know that this is wrong, but I ain't trying to fight no multiversal war, Sylvie. So we're gonna listen to him.
Well, and I think he wants her to get over it.
Right.
Like, he's like, dude, we've all suffered.
So yeah, I've been where you've
That's
been.
why we're villains, because
Yeah.
we suffered. But like, we have a chance at
What was that
being
motto?
together. So like, let's take it.
I know I'm bad, but bad is good. That one from Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, just because you are a bad guy doesn't mean you are a bad guy.
but it's a creed. It's a creed of.
Just because I'm bad doesn't mean I'm bad.
Right.
And
yeah.
sometimes being bad is
It's
good.
Exactly.
Was that Satine that said that?
I think
No,
so.
that's a hairy guy from Street Fighter.
Zangief.
Zangief.
Yeah. So it's such a good movie. So
I loved Satine.
So yeah, and then Loki says something very similar. He's like, you can't trust, and I can't be trusted. What are we gonna do? You know? And she's like, smooch push, and kicks him out.
It was fucked up. He was so sad. He had tears in his eyes, and he was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to go get my real homie, Mobius.
Go to get the real homie. So he runs off. Sylvie, she pulls out her blade, and she's like, you know what? He who remains, you ain't remaining no more. And she stabs him through the chest. And as soon as she does that, well, actually, even before she does that, because they cross like a threshold where he finds out he doesn't know what's going to happen next. And all the branches start appearing. And when she kills him, even more branches start appearing. And they're everywhere. And the TVA is like, what are we going to do about this? This is crazy. And
I'd have been like, fuck this shit.
so Loki's back there. He's like, guys, some real stuff is about to go down. It's going to be a Kang and another Kang and a Kang after that. And there's going to be all kinds of Kangs. And Mobius like, who are you, bro? What are you even talking about? And then Loki looks up and he sees a gigantic statue of Kang and is like, oh, fuck, we're already here, bro.
Yeah.
It was a very Planet of the Apes style moment. It was like, oh, shit.
makes
I've been on Earth this whole time?
So
That
can you
makes me
tell?
think, like, so is he in a different quote-unquote universe, or is it just because this happened,
I think it's
like,
just because this happened.
because now he has been here,
Yeah.
right? Or he is back, or he whatever has
He's
taken
back.
over.
So
Right.
will you? Can you explain Kang the Conqueror? Because you said Kang the Conqueror has Elias. It's like his pet, right?
Yeah, it's just like his comic book pet that can eat
Things.
time or
Time.
something like that, you know?
Must be nice.
So
It's
Kang,
so funny. Hold on. We were having a conversation about like Timey Wimey. I don't know how we said this, but you said something about then why can't we follow that storyline with Ant-Man? What were we talking about?
Oh,
And then I
was
said, well, Ant-Man is just so minuscule in terms of Timey Wimey that it just
it's not
doesn't
timey-wimey.
make sense to me.
well,
I remember
but
what
so funny now
That's
that Kang the Conqueror is gonna be there.
Adams.
Right.
Okay, hold on.
But what were
Finish
we-
this, and I will say what I said then.
am I talking about Kang now?
Yeah, tell
okay,
us
so,
about him, and then I'll.
So yeah, Kang is a huge, gigantic Avengers villain. And he is what he says he is. He is a conqueror. So he uses time travel to go to different worlds and just take over. And the Avengers have to travel through time to stop him and stuff like that. It's real comic booky stuff because he came about in like the 60s, I want to say, or something like that. And on here it says, a 31st century scholar and possible descendant of Reed Richards, becomes fascinated with history and discovers the time travel technology created by Victor Von Doom. He then travels back in time to ancient Egypt aboard a Sphinx-shaped time ship and becomes a pharaoh Ramatut, who he takes over a mutant. Ramatut's rule is cut short when he is defeated by the displaced Fantastic Four. So he goes back in time. He tries to take shit over, and then superheroes have to show up and take him out.
He goes somewhere else.
And then he'll go somewhere else and take over another place, basically, until he comes back and tries to take something out of this time to put it in another time so that he can have the advantage. That's his basic.
Sounds like
deal.
a hard dude to beat.
Right, a difficult person to beat. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what his role in Ant-Man 3 is going to be or whatever.
Maybe he's taking over the quantum realm.
Right.
So here's my thing. After watching it and taking a step back, because I love Loki so much and I feel like this didn't do him justice, I feel like someone else could have been the main character in this.
Okay.
And I would have liked it just as much or more, because I don't think that it did the Loki character justice. And I realize that because he's a villain and he's a trickster, it makes sense. I just feel like he deserved more. So that's when I brought up, like, well, it could have fucking been Ant-Man. And Luis was like, no, but he's in quantum. He's like in a quantum. He's like in a different realm of our reality. He's not like in a different universe per se.
See, I thought it was great. Only qualm is that I wanted more of him, like more magic.
Oh,
More-
for sure. I
more
wanted
Loki.
more actual
But
trickery.
and then I think I was a little sad that Mobius kind of died off the last 2 episodes, because in the first ones he was like the best part.
Oh, for sure.
I was like, oh my gosh, I love Mobius. He's obsessed with freaking jet skis. Like, that's so funny. And then the last 2 episodes, it was like Mobius and Ravonna were doing this weird stuff, and I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't care about it as much anymore.
Right.
I only liked like Mobius and Loki together.
They had a strange little will they won't they kind of romance thing going on
Yeah.
that didn't make too much sense if they both believed that they were created to do this one thing, or
It was weird.
Whatever. But yeah, I will say that I enjoyed Mobius a lot in the beginning, and once again I think all of the storylines aside from Loki, Sylvie, and who's controlling the TVA aren't wrapped up that well,
And I think that that's why it's hard for me, is that we had these other 2 shows that were so well contained. They had a purpose. They fulfilled the purpose of the show. That this feels like,
We got more seasons coming, It's one of those things.
Right.
and I didn't know there was more
There's
seasons.
definitely
I thought that
been-
this was just gonna like lead into Multiverse of Madness or whatever
did
down
I,
the road.
so
So yeah,
I.
I mean that's
Which in that way, it's like, okay, so shit's gone south.
Doctor
Let's
Strange
go.
has to come fix it.
Right. The only person that's fixing this right now is Doctor Strange.
I saw-
Which that's another person that would have been interesting
to have
for
in
this to
I
be
wanted
like
him on WandaVision too.
to
I
be
love
like
Doctor
revolving
Strange.
around, because this is time. This is him.
Okay, so
Luke?
I saw
Like a Sorcerer Supreme being the
I
last person.
saw a TikTok. Don't judge me. It's a TikTok, but it was about a theory about how they were saying, how did Doctor Strange say in Endgame or Infinity War that he saw a million ways that this could go and
14
only
million?
one way? How many million?
14 million.
He saw 14 million different ways that this could go, and only one way they're going to defeat Thanos, right? So he says that, he poofs, he comes back, and he does the one to Iron Man, and we know what has to happen. And somebody was like, well, if there's only one timeline that's supposed to happen, how did he see 14 million different options?
Was there a solution to that?
It's
on
all
that?
in the same timeline.
Yeah, but they're saying that this is the what timeline? The
the sacred timeline.
sacred timeline.
Yeah.
So he should have only seen one option.
No.
So
No,
no.
it's
right now,
because
for example,
if
you're
like none of those people had died, it would have been like, if Iron Man dies, but Spider-Man and so and so and so and so doesn't.
So did he only, was the one way of the sacred timeline? Like that's the way it was supposed to go?
No,
Well-
that was the only way they could beat Thanos.
Well,
Which is part of the sacred timeline.
Yes.
Right.
Thanos has to be beat.
Yes.
So he saw the only one way, and it was what Kang wanted him to see. Isn't that
Exactly.
kind of crazy?
Sure, exactly.
Exactly.
And I think that Doctor Strange in that moment when he's seeing all the 14 million versions or whatever, and how Kang controls the sacred timeline and prunes everything, I think those are very similar things.
I think it's going to be important coming into his other thing.
right. That's what I'm saying.
Like
is-
he can see all these things. Why was there only one way.
Is that
you know what I mean? Because that
Dr.
was what Kang told him. This is a sacred timeline.
Yes.
You know?
Doctor Strange is seeing all of those variants happen, and he is pruning himself to get to the one that's going to lead to the sacred timeline. So
I know.
he's pulling a Kang right now. You know, Kang
I
is pulling the
know.
Doctor
So
Strange.
but honestly, I think Doctor Strange is so cool. So I'm so excited for that movie.
Yeah. So, Lou, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I got a theory with all these 3 shows and which ones they're leading to.
Oh yeah,
All right.
go for it.
So now that this whole, Kang guy,
Kang the
he
Conqueror.
Kang
is
Kong.
he is leading into Ant-Man,
Yes.
Yes,
and WandaVision is leading into the
Doctor
multiverse,
Doctor Strange
Yeah.
too.
which
yes.
is funny because at the end I thought this dawned on me now. At the end of this Loki, I thought this one was leading into the multiverse of madness.
Well,
Well, the multiverse
But
is being
now it's
created.
not to me.
okay.
And now I'm trying to think of the other one.
Ant-Man one?
No, the Falcon. At the end of that one.
So at the end of that one,
That was weird.
he becomes
Miss Hydra?
Captain America, and we see U.S. agent go off with Elaine from Seinfeld or whatever.
There's going to be another
Is she supposed to
Captain
be
America
Miss
movie.
Hydra?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where they're going with her.
You guys didn't see Black Widow yet?
Mm-mm.
No, so don't talk. Don't, we'll,
But does that have anything to do with this?
we'll get to Black Widow in a moment.
Hey,
You don't
is
know?
Her introduction was supposed to be in that movie before
That
Falcon
girl
and the Winter Soldier.
That was in
that
Falcon.
girl
Elaine?
was supposed.
Yes, Elaine.
Yeah,
So
she's
that's
in-
all I'll
she's in
say
this
is that
Oh,
she's in
I
Black
see.
Widow.
Hey, question for you though.
Yeah.
Taskmaster.
Mm-hmm.
Was Taskmaster always that person in every single biological way
Huh?
In the movie,
in the comic book?
in the comic book, no.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Okay.
We can move on.
Okay,
Yeah.
moving on.
So, are you telling me that girl? Sorry, I know we're diverging, but we're varianting. That girl, the lady Elaine,
Yes.
Elaine.
was. This isn't supposed to be the first time we see her. The other one is supposed to be the first time.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because they
technically.
came out in the wrong
they,
order.
They changed them both, but yeah, Black Widow was supposed to come out first, and she appears in that.
So does it make sense though when you're watching it?
Yeah,
like
it
this
does.
being
We were like,
after
It
now?
makes
Oh.
sense because in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, when she appears, she's like, "Hello, my name is
Yeah.
long ass name, and I'm here to offer you whatever." And
And we were like, what the fuck?
Right.
But after you watch, it's just a post-credit scene, whatever. Then you're like, oh.
Okay.
Yeah. So wait, I mean, y'all know from Marvel movies, you gotta wait till the post-credits. And even in this one, it just said, what? Fucking welcome to season 2.
it's, yeah, the post credit for
Bitches.
this was Loki will return in season 2, which is cool. But yeah, so the next couple movies coming out, is going to be Shang-Chi and then the Eternals, which might have some stuff to do with multiversal stuff. But the one after that is actually Spider-Man No Way Home. Doctor Strange will be in that movie. And then after that,
Is Doctor
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of
I'm gonna
Madness.
need that to be today.
March. It's March, Emily, and I just need it to happen.
So Spider-Man is in December, and all of the rumors about that movie is that Tom Holland is gonna interface with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. He's gonna meet a whole bunch of other Spider-Men, and he's gonna meet some Spider-Man villains from older
Andre's gonna
movies
shit
and
his
stuff like
pants
that.
in the movie theater.
And
Oh, Tommy Wilson Fisk is gonna come back with what's his name?
dude, that'd be sick, but I don't think so.
So he wasn't actually Wilson Fisk then, or was he Wilson Fisk?
Now, but let's be honest. At this
Wait,
point in
who-
Are you
this
talking
universe,
about are you talking about
the
the
actor.
actor?
yeah.
From Daredevil?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think they're.
Let's
gonna
be
bring
honest,
any
though.
of
At
that
this
back.
point in this Marvel universe, Wilson Fisk would be too much of a downgrade of a villain.
for
Yeah.
Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like Spider-Man's got to be
Isn't it
fighting
has
some
Mr.
galactic
Octopus?
dude.
Doctor Octopus. He's rumored.
Dr. Octavius?
Yeah, he's rumored to be in that movie
It's
as
a
well.
rumor.
Which
It's
one is
also
the sexy
rumored
man
that
who's
Tom
the
Holland and
New
Zendaya
York?
are dating.
Who's the New York?
James Franco.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
is
that'd be cool.
Jack-o'-lantern.
But
Jack
good
the
old
Reaper.
Hobgoblin.
Tom
That
Day, I have to
Hobgoblin?
go fight an
Yeah.
octopussy.
I'm gonna need you to stop with that. Thank you.
He
Moving
cannot
on.
do a crossover with 007, okay? So stop.
So all in all, the way that this Loki season ended is really big stuff for the grand MCU and
Yeah.
or phase 4 of the MCU that we're
Mhm.
in right now. But on its own, as a single season of television, I don't think it quite delivered as well as the endings for WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Those had closure. This one didn't.
Right.
No.
So when this episode ended, I literally said, and before we went into it, I said, babe, if this episode ends on a cliffhanger, I'm gonna lose my shit. Because if there's something to know about me is that I don't like watching shows until they're completely done.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the feeling of a cliffhanger usually. I mean, I do, but I don't. And so far, we've been cool with these 2 Marvel shows. Like you said, they've been like one succinct thing, and I can move on with my life. But no,
this is
it had to be a
She's
cliffhanger. I
consumed.
literally, how loud did I scream? I was like,
Oh yeah.
I was so mad. I do not like cliffhangers, like on shows. Movie, I can
Super
handle because
Saiyan.
the new movie
Yeah.
will probably come out soon. But
GT.
I don't know how many seasons there are going to be of this TV show, and I don't like watching shows until they're done. So I was upset.
Yeah.
Upset. I don't know how you watch Handmaid's Tale when you know you have to wait for the next one.
Dude, and we just finished season 5. What am I gonna do? Or 4? What am I gonna do
Exactly.
with my
I don't
life?
like that
We
feeling.
tend
I
to,
get upset.
We stumbled across Modern Family. Modern Family's like 11 seasons deep,
Super
like 10
long.
episodes
But it's
each.
over.
So we take our time with Modern Family in
Yeah.
between.
Yeah,
Every
we
now
have
and
to
then.
palate cleanse.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
All right. Okay. I mean,
So
we don't
how are we
rate
gonna
these,
rate
but
this?
we don't
Well-
rate them in cracks, do
Yeah,
we?
I don't think. Did we do ratings?
Well,
on
I
the
guess
last
we gave
couple?
our favorite. We ranked the shows.
Okay, my favorite was WandaVision. And then I think it's because I like those characters better. Like, I
Yeah, you
love
love
Vision so much. And I liked her, even though I wish she had the accent.
does
I
a
liked
little
that
bit.
better. But Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it was really good. Like, it was like 1 and then a 1.5, like on 1 and 1. And then Loki was
It's
under
at the
that.
bottom.
See, Loki was like top to me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really cool. Then WandaVision, because remember, it took me a little bit to get into that one because I wasn't having the sitcom stuff. Like, I didn't grow up on that, so it wasn't my jam. But it ended up being amazing. I watched that one twice through, and I'm going to watch Loki again for sure, probably tomorrow.
Oh, jeez.
I will watch Loki again because I feel like I missed so much.
Missed some
Yeah.
stuff.
I will
But
not.
Falcon, as much as I love Bucky and Falcon, aka Captain America, them two were great. But the storyline of the entire show, I did not like.
Right.
So that ruined it for me. So that, well, it didn't ruin it, but you know, it
lessened it.
Wow, I'm rating these really, really good shows as 1, 2, and 3. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Like, they were all good, but Loki was my favorite. Then
The Flag
WandaVision.
Smashers were stupid.
That was the stupidest thing, and it ruined it for me.
Word.
And then Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What about you, Luis?
It's funny you say that. I think the plot in Loki had quite a bit of holes that needed filling.
They'll be filled later.
Captain America, pretty succinct to me. I mean, the idea of the flag smashers, I can understand how you guys would think it's stupid, but I mean, why couldn't there
think we
be
talked about
a
it.
super serum out
So
there?
you were
Right.
sleeping.
You know?
And it was plausible.
Yeah,
That's
I-
definitely
I-
plausible because
I needed
when the
more.
blip came back, what happens to all those people?
Yeah.
You have to assume that not everything goes back to
I
normal.
have to
so
assume that's the thing. I needed to see it
You
on
know?
the screen.
Yeah.
I didn't want to.
But anyways, tied for last,
With
Loki with Loki.
okay.
Then I like WandaVision,
okay.
and then Captain America.
What about
At
you,
the
babe?
top. I think I am of the mind that Loki's at the top for me right now. I think that this show had
Tom.
the best mix of seeing more of a character that I loved, plus seeing a whole bunch of cool Marvel stuff happening, and having it introduce some really cool new fun characters. Like I hope that Mobius sticks around in some way
I
for,
really liked
for a long
him.
time. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
so-
he's the new Phil Coulson.
Yes.
Have you seen
Come on, man.
Have you seen people post videos or photos on Instagram and it'll be like, "Oh my god, I just met Mobius," and it'll be a picture of Lightning McQueen. Like, shut up,
Dude, I thought I was gonna lose.
Good chow.
Ka-chow.
Did you see the one with it was like a little Lightning McQueen like
Like a
die
race
cast
car?
little
Yes.
racing car? He's like, oh my god, I just saw some lightning.
So stupid. Oh, no.
Ka-chow.
So yeah, So Loki is at the top for me. Then it's WandaVision, which I think was some of the best television that I've seen in quite a few years. You know,
Honestly.
it was really, really good stuff, really inventive, really clever, and I love seeing all the magic, and I love the relationship between Wanda and Vision. And then coming in third is Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I really like that show a lot too. Like there was a lot of great
beautiful
stuff in there.
So far, they've killed it.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
doing very well.
The MCU shows are dope.
And I think what's going to be hard, and I'm speaking from the perspective of my mother right now. So my mother is starting to watch a lot of Marvel movies.
She's on her Marvel journey.
Maybe she's gotten through 10 at this point.
I don't know.
Maybe. She's making her way through. But
You've explained this on every episode. Move
have
on.
I?
Yes.
Well, luckily she's been watching the shows as we go along. But what about all these people who aren't watching the shows? And now these shows
Oh, you don't have a choice. You
are
have to watch
tying
them.
into the movies.
Yeah.
Like my coworker was like, yeah, I kind of need to rewatch them because I can't remember anything. And I said, good fucking luck. You bet you should have started 3 years ago with us.
Well, I bet
and now the shows too. Like that's time.
If I was a Disney executive and this problem came to me, I'd be like, hey, guess what? Subscribe to Disney Plus. Number one, give me $8.
It's all on there.
And then number two, it's all on there if you want to watch
All of it.
all. And then number two, we have this fun little 6-minute thing called Marvel Legends where it explains a little bit about each of the characters.
Which my mom watches and it helped her.
Exactly, as you
As
go
if we
along.
watched it before we start the show
Right.
too.
I will say that in the grand scheme of things, moving back, the first two shows moved characters along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like set up characters
Yeah.
for the next phase. Loki, to me, more set up universal,
The world.
like the world building.
Yeah.
Um,
Between like Scarlet Witch, the Vision, the new Captain America, and Winter Soldier, Loki is at the bottom of, like, I don't know what he's himself is going to do. I don't know if he'll
Yeah.
ever show up in the regular MCU
Probably
timeline
not
and hang out
necessarily.
with Thor ever again. You know, I'm not necessarily sure. With all those other characters, I know where they're headed. But
But this is interesting because it's opening up a whole world of like where the other characters can like
I
fit
feel
in.
like Loki might bump into Doctor Strange, but I'm not sure who else he'll really bump into.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Tell me that
how they're gonna do
Doctor Strange
this.
and Loki wouldn't be fucking hilarious.
Well,
know.
I mean, they already were in Endgame, I think it was, or Infinity War, or was it Ragnarok even, where he shows up and
Was
Doctor
it?
Strange just messing with him. He's like, I've been falling for 30 minutes.
Oh,
He, like, sends it through a portal or whatever.
that.
It was Ragnarok. They
Yeah, it was
they
Ragnarok.
go to Doctor Strange to find out where Odin went, and he just messes
You're
with both
right.
of them.
You're right.
But I'm
But
ready
that
for more
one
of
was
that,
when
you
he
know?
was messing with Thor was Luis and mine almost our favorite MCU
He keeps
moment.
So
spilling the
good.
beer in
Dude,
the
that shit
library
was
or whatever.
So funny. So
That
good.
movie's so good. I want
Yeah.
to watch it right now.
Yeah.
Luis
freaking
and I were just
fantastic.
talking about that. We were so mad when Ragnarok was about to come out because we were like, I cannot see Thor in a funny role. It's gonna freaking like
No, it
ruin
was the
Thor.
best.
And now it's like
It's the best.
I need
Where's
to
Fat
see.
Thor?
I need funny Thor. Like
Yes.
I
And
need.
Fat Thor.
No, nobody needs fat Thor.
Yeah.
Dude,
That was
Thor.
not
Fat Thor.
Ragnarok. Okay.
That was hilarious. That's Endgame. So yeah, so that's the MCU for you. We're gonna keep it locked on the MCU here for our Summer of Heroes, on the Walt Vault and
wait.
in a regular
First of
episodes
all,
as well.
The soundtrack of Loki, the jam.
Top notch, very
It was
good.
pretty.
I liked it a lot.
We really liked it.
No, it was good.
Like, what was the song? How'd it go, babe?
I can't remember now. You done put me on the spot. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Din-din-din-din-din-no-nee-nee. I
Yeah,
can't-
like that.
I can't
Anyways,
remember.
soundtrack was good. But
Yes.
yes, we're marveling of heroesing it up. And if you want to watch the movies, get the plus and watch the movies and do your stuff. And I'm gone.
All right.
That was a lot.
Do exactly what Michelle said. We will be talking about all kinds of Marvel movies, including Captain America: The First Avenger and Black Widow later this month with a couple of others. So yeah, you're right. Get your Disney Plus subscriptions if you haven't got them already, and
You're
get to
listening
watch
to a
it.
Disney podcast. I hope that you have Disney
At
Plus.
this point, like, you should have it.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you guys very much for listening to this episode, our review of Loki. Let us know what you thought of the show. Did you like it? Where do you rank it in terms of the other MCU shows? And do you think Tom Hiddleston is a daddy or not? All right, you guys, that's been it
Daddy.
for this episode.
Luis is shaking his head in the corner.
If you're listening to this on the main feed, you get exclusive access to these types of episodes on patreon.com/the Walt Vault for a very small price. Help us keep the lights on in this dark, dark vault. For the rest of you, we love you. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. The crack has been cocked.